All right, and we are back. Okay, so we're gonna have a chase for fun and glory and something else. I don't know.
Who needs orange juice when you got a chase in Call of Cthulhu?
All right, so first up is the guy who's in the window, and he is gonna take his turn to move out onto the fire escape. Next up is Seamus.
Okay, since I picked the lock, I opened the door. I'm one the first anyway. They're literally out the window.
They're literally out the window, so you can fire a gun at them, or you can move to go out the window after them.
Hmm. Well, it's New York, Peru. I'm going to first just take off after them. Move to the window.
Move to the window. Okay. So
How big is this fire escape? Is it just standard New York? That's not very big.
yeah, they're moving rapidly down the stairs. So Seamus is moving to the window. Okay. Great. You do that. Jesse.
Wait a minute now. What am I missing here? The guys here, we're still on the New York map, right?
Yes.
The guys here are out on a fire escape,
Yes.
and then what do our tokens mean? Like, where was the door that we came in?
So I didn't draw out the room, but you guys are in the room.
Here? Okay.
And
So
Seamus
the
is
window's here?
coming up to the window to jump out onto the fire escape. And then
Okay.
these guys are negotiating their way down the fire escape to the alley below.
So Seamus is on the fire escape, or no? You said at the window.
He's at the window.
All right. Have we actually thought of what we're gonna do with these people if we catch them?
Have you?
I'm kind of confused on what. So I mean, it sounds like Jackson is beyond repair.
He's dead.
Yes.
So dead.
Worse than that, he's dead, Jim.
Oops, Jim. All right. This is this. So this was his hotel room. Did we know if he was like staying here before? I guess we know we would know.
Yes, this was the regular place that he stayed when he was in town.
Okay. But he didn't live in New York.
He did not have a permanent address.
Okay, I wasn't sure if he was living out of this hotel or not. Room has been ransacked. Did we notice if any of the guys jumping out of the fire escape were carrying anything?
They had large knives in their belts, and that's what you noticed.
Can I look out the window to see if they're actually making away with some stuff? Like, what's our goal here? Are we trying to catch
You
them
definitely see that they've got some papers sticking haphazardly out of their jackets.
Okay. All right. I say to I kind of ask Seamus what he's thinking, but I move over towards there.
Well, get some answers.
Good. It's just I was thinking a little bit. Answers about.
Oh, let's turn them into the cops.
Oh, jeez.
Right.
Why? Okay. Okay. I guess I'll go on to the fire escape if that's possible.
Well, you can get to the window this round.
All right, then I'll do that.
Okay, so I've got this guy up, who Has climb 60. All right.
And there's no other way. Sorry, one more other question. There's no other way out of this room aside from the door we came in and these windows.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. So this guy goes down the fire escape and makes it down to the alley. This guy also makes it down to the alley. This guy's on the fire escape. Alejandro.
Alejandro's gonna just book it toward the fire escape. So, was speed of 8 mean anything for my character, or can he just get up to the window?
Your speed is make a dex check.
Okay. Would this be to see if I go faster or slower? Because I think that would be.
Yes.
You know what? I think that would be con in like chase rules.
In
but you know
chase
what?
rules, it's dex.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually reviewed them before doing this because I always hate chase rules and can never remember how it's doing. So
I'm gonna spend 5 luck for that.
All right.
I'm in.
So you can only make it as far as the window.
No, I'm spending
wait.
5 luck.
Oh, you're spending 5 luck.
Yeah, so I'm
Okay.
at 57 right now.
Okay. Then you make it onto the fire escape. What's your size?
My size is 80.
Big bastard.
Yeah.
So your size is 80. So, okay, so you make it onto the fire escape. There's a dude there. And as you get out onto the fire escape, you hear it really creak and groan under the way to you two.
Wow. Shit.
Start jumping up and down.
Grab him, throw him off.
And that's all you can manage this round. Alistair, you're stunned. And we're at the top of the second round. Okay.
We need to take him alive.
Martin.
So how many people are on the fire escape right now?
Right now it's Alejandro and one cultist.
And that's causing the fire escape to groan.
My
Yes.
character has 80 size.
Based on where we came in, is it possible for me to go down to the ground floor and try to cut these people off?
You can try, but you're gonna have to, either go down 4 flights of stairs or wait for an elevator and then get around to the back of the hotel. You guess that probably won't be very efficient.
Okay. Are there rooms that are adjacent to Jackson's hotel room?
Yes.
All right. Can I go and try to break down the door to one of the adjacent hotel rooms and try to get onto their fire
Sure.
escape?
I'm gonna say that it's gonna take you a round to get out to the hallway, and then you'll need to make a strength check once you're out there.
Can I just shoot the lock?
You can.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to put you over here. Okay. Next up is this guy. So he kind of sees this big dude Alejandro coming for him, and he doesn't really want any part of that. And so he's gonna just try to get the hell out of Dodge. 63. He fails his climb roll. And what does that mean? That means that So he is trying to make. He gets freaked out when he sees Alejandro. He tries to get out off the fire escape, and he slips on some black ice and lands on his ass on the fire escape.
Did he break his coccyx?
Yes, he screamed out, "Oh, my coccyx!" in a really bad Irish accent that I'm not able to do.
Oh, my coccyx.
There we go. Seamus.
Is he the closest one? The one that's
He is
fallen
the
down?
closest one.
Going straight for him.
Entering into melee, or
Yeah.
well,
Just,
so you heard the so you're going out onto the fire escape.
yes.
Gonna remind you, you heard the fire escape groan when Alejandro went out.
Yeah, it's gonna. One more of us, it's probably gonna just go.
Okay. Look around. Is there any other fire escapes, or is it just for the this room?
Not that you can reach from this room.
Okay.
I
turn
want to
around.
see you try it.
Yeah.
Come
Turn
on,
around.
go on out. What's the worst that could happen?
Let's see. The engineer in me suddenly takes over and goes, "Hell no."
Four floors, come on.
Come on, Alejandro can sweat it off. There's no sweat off his ass.
Yeah. Turn around, bolt for the stairs, and to get out the side as soon as possible.
As I said to Martin a couple rounds ago,
Yeah.
you know that this is going to take you minutes to get back downstairs if you go out a different way.
Okay. I'm going to do something stupid. I get out onto the one, and I'm just prepared for it to collapse.
Okay.
And that's it.
Awesome. I was hoping this part would happen.
Oh God. Oh no. Oh God. Oh,
Okay.
no.
The fire escape gives like one last heaving groan and then just clatters to the ground with you guys on it.
Okay.
I'll allow you two to make a jump check to take half damage from the fall.
Let's see what happens. Oh boy.
Yeah. No.
God damn it.
Is it 1d6?
Wait, you have
Oh,
60
sorry, no,
jump?
it's 2d6.
Yeah, I have 60 jump.
Damn.
You take 11 points of damage from the fall.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
That old. Come on.
And I'm gonna give you. Tell you what. Each of you make a luck roll. Or which one of you has the lowest luck? What's your
65.
luck?
My luck is 57.
I have a 65.
All right, Alejandro, make a luck roll.
I did. I succeeded by just a regular success. Oh God, what happened?
So here's what happens. Tell you what. I will let you spend 10 luck for the awesome success of this.
I'll take you up on that.
So, in true pulp style, Seamus goes out onto the fire escape. The fire escape groans and collapses, and the cultist is like already on his ass. And so he just like when it hits the ground, like you guys are pretty shook up. He just like goes ass over tea kettle off and into a snowbank. The fire escape falls and lands on the two guys that are in the alley.
Oh my God. What, like impaling them, like in that?
and
Sorry.
all of you go down in just a heap. Let me check there. This won't quite kill them, but oof, they're not gonna be looking good.
To be fair, this is Pulp Cthulhu. If they're mooks, then this is probably gonna kill them.
It doesn't kill them, but
Ooh.
they're definitely not looking good, and all three of them are down on the ground. Okay. So that happened. Jesse. So out the window that you were standing in front of, there's not a fire escape anymore. There's you and your friends are on the ground. They've managed to kind of mostly extricate themselves from the situation, but the three cultists are definitely down on the ground and kind of pinned under this wreckage.
So
Was that it? Okay, so I assume there's no real other quick way of getting down to the ground floor now, right?
That is true.
All right then. So I lean out the window and said, "You got this, guys." And I guess I'll just take the elevator down.
Okay.
Sorry.
Cultists are going to attempt to stay conscious. Nope. Nope.
Oh, god damn.
Better lucky than good.
Okay, so these guys are gonna go sleepy now. Where's my sleepy one?
You ever watch Dark City? Sleep now.
Okay. Alejandro, did you take a major wound off that 11 points?
No, I did not. If 15 would be a major wound. If I took 15 damage, that would be a major wound.
Okay.
What about Seamus? How you doing, buddy?
Well, I was at 24. I'm at 13 now.
Okay, thank God.
Okay.
Not too bad.
Yeah, that was like 1 point away from a major wound.
Hell yeah.
Do you calculate hit points differently in Pulp Cthulhu?
Yeah, you get
Yes.
double normal hit points.
Oh, all right.
Because you really need them.
Oh yeah, fucking for shit like this.
Otherwise, I probably would have just said screw it and open fire instead of trying to go on there. But sometimes you just have to throw your keeper a bone.
Yeah, you just gotta make it easier for him. You want to play Pulp Cthulhu or not?
Yeah, I gotta say this is a tough game to do pulp with.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you doing, Alejandro?
Okay. I'm assuming Alejandro's on his back or at least on his ass after the fall like that.
Yeah. It shook you up good. You're not pinned under anything. You don't need to make a con check to see if you stay conscious. The other two guys that it fell on are definitely knocked out. The guy that was with you, he is not looking good either. I'll just make a con check for him right now to see if he stayed conscious through all of that. He did stay conscious. Having slipped on his ass ahead of time, he managed to avoid most of the falling rubble.
Okay, at this point, Alejandro will basically just say to Seamus, "Watch that guy." He's gonna point to the conscious guy and just say, "Watch him," and he's going to go over to one of the unconscious guys where stuff fell on them, and he's basically just going to take the stuff off of them. Is it heavy enough to warrant a strength check?
If you're trying to unpin them, yeah, I'll want a strength check.
Okay, so I have heavy lifter, so that gives me a bonus dice. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hard success, nice.
Okay, yeah, you get them uncovered, no problem at all.
Yeah, just big human muscle of a man.
Okay. I'm gonna assume that we're ending combat at this point.
As long as he understands, he's got a gun pointed at him. Yep.
And the fact that his friends are probably dead.
Ending combat and beginning interrogation.
Yep.
This is
The
gonna be fun.
elevator ride like? Is there like music in the elevator?
Yes, it's the 20s. You know, you've got some
Nice.
modern music.
For some reason, you hear electronica in the 20s.
There's like a little band actually in the elevator, and it's like,
It's just a band of midgets.
wait, is this a fancy hotel?
It's a moderately fancy hotel.
Alright,
It's a fairly bohemian hotel. A lot of artists and authors tend to stay here.
Well, then if it's bohemian, then there has to be
I
some
am
midgets.
both.
All right, so you guys have all made it down to the ground floor, and you've got these guys that are starting to come around.
At this point, Alejandro's gonna go to the one that looks probably the most injured, and he's going to administer first aid on him.
Okay.
Okay.
You're being awfully nice to the guys that just killed your good friend, but
They can't talk if they're dead.
they're not in danger of dying. They're
Well, I
they're
know.
just
But we only need
But
one.
they are.
They're in danger of
Well,
dying if they talk too much. Or
they're
if
not
they
in
don't talk
danger of
enough.
dying from the injuries from the fall. Let's put it that way.
They're in danger of dying from my first aid.
We fix you up, then we tear you down. It's kind of a yin yang thing.
Okay, so hard success for that first aid roll. So I probably just like pop an arm back into socket really painfully.
Okay.
It's very old god. We, skin them, then put their skin back on, then skin them again.
Damn. That's like, I don't. Even Game of Thrones didn't go there.
Yeah, fucking. I just like put his arm up to the thing and then I just punch it back into socket.
Okay. So you get them up.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing now?
At this point, Alejandro's just gonna get into his face, just get into the guy he just fixed up face, and just says, "Now, I am being nice, Gringo. I will not be nice again unless you tell me what I want to know. Do we have understanding?"
So for the record, the gringo is a black guy, but sure.
Whatever.
So he's
All
just
Americans look the same to you.
so he's just kind of like looking at you blankly.
At this point, I'm just gonna.
Like a good blank, or like a I am zoned out and tripped up on drugs blank, or
Or I'm not scared of you blank.
I'm a cultist and
A religious fanatic that doesn't fear
yeah,
anything.
that.
Yeah, he doesn't seem afraid.
Does his eyes have pupils? Things
Oh.
like that.
If I'm able to make an intimidation roll, I can make him afraid.
You can try.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to say, I'm basically just gonna say, you might want to wipe that fucking look off your face if you know it's good for you. Okay, I failed. I'm going to push that and basically just be like, hey, wipe the fucking look off your face. Like, I'm gonna like try and slap him. That's how I
Man, you're
do
not pronouncing the swear words right. They're just like, what the?
fuck. Okay, I succeeded.
So you hit him, but it doesn't seem to get a whole lot of message across. He just kind of looks at you and says, "Okay."
Or check his stuff while this is going on. What are the papers and stuff that they get?
So I'm assuming you did this while they were knocked out
More than likely.
before
Earliest
Alejandro woke
opportunity.
them up.
So there's 3 of them, right?
Yeah, there's 3 of them.
While he's
One of the
being
guys who
coordinated.
says white was speaking with an Irish accent.
Yes.
I go to a fellow Irishman, you know, thicken my accent a touch, right? And try to charm him. My colleagues here, they're rather upset. I would really appreciate you, being cooperative here.
I'd really appreciate you being cooperative here. Ha ta 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 ta.
You could have put a little Jamesons in it.
So he's just like I'm not no.
At this point, Alejandro's just gonna speak up and say, "These guys are really starting to piss me off."
So you
Good cop,
so I'll
bad
say
cop.
that you managed to collect a bunch of papers off of them. But before you have a chance to look at them, New York's finest shows up. So
They were already under here when we found them.
2 uniformed officers arrive, and they run up and they're like, all right, nobody move.
Very well,
point,
officer.
He's
I
just gonna.
may or may not have warrants.
We've
My character's just gonna put his hands up and just be like, "Okay." Like he's gonna cooperate at least somewhat.
Figured was that there's a bunch of us were probably pretty well dressed and mannered for them. These 3 guys.
so they come up and they're like, so what happened here?
Well, we were asked to visit our friend Jackson. He's a well-known writer at these parts. He asked us to come here at 8. We arrived. We found our companion, the room rifled, our companion dead, gutted,
Butchered.
and 3 attempting to escape through the off the fire escape.
Those 3 guys with the bloody knives.
So the detectives look at you guys, then they look at the cultists, and they're like, seems legit.
Yeah.
And beat the guys in the head with some nightsticks and render them unconscious, and slap some handcuffs on them, and they say the paddy wagon will be here soon, but we're gonna want to ask you some. The lieutenant's gonna want to ask you some questions. Stay
Of course,
here.
officer. Of course, officer.
So a few minutes later, the paddy wagon shows up, and they just throw the guys bodily into the back of it, slam the doors, and jump on in, and one of the guys stays with you to make sure that you don't take off, but the other one jumps in the paddy wagon and that takes off. A few minutes later, I've even hold on 1 second. I've even got a token for him. Look at me being all like thoughtful and stuff about this. Where is Martin Poole?
When he sees the guys just literally being thrown into the paddy wagon, he's just going to say, "Back in my country, we did things a little more extreme, but that's a pretty good way of doing justice. I like cops."
So, Lieutenant Martin Poole shows up and introduces himself. And he says, "All right, tell me what happened."
Explaining it in the same way that I explained to the patrol officers, but also how when we got out onto the balcony to give chase, it collapsed under the weight and fell on them, the blighters.
Damnedest thing.
So, do any of you have any connection with law enforcement?
Mm.
I went to jail once in Peru. Does
Uh,
that count?
Well, considering my character's Peruvian native, new-ish to New York, I'm assuming probably not. He hasn't had any run-ins, but he hasn't had
Can
any
one of you
connections.
make a credit rating check?
Who has the highest credit rating?
I have 40.
10.
Let me check. I'm pretty good because I'm a museum curator. Credit.
It's right under climb.
Oh, okay.
Few things it doesn't have a checkbox.
Yes.
Nope, I'm at 0-0. Okay.
You have 0 credit rating?
I didn't put anything in there.
Wow, you're poor as hell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You should have taken
Almost.
some, but anyway,
didn't
Seamus
put-
made a
yeah.
success roll, so
Okay.
I got somebody here as an eye for business.
so Seamus, you're able to kind of, you know, your demeanor and standing and the way you kind of explain yourself, you're able to kind of ingratiate yourself with Lieutenant Poole. So
I explained before, I'm an engineer from Canada, visiting Elias Jackson. Made friends when we were down in Peru several years ago. Big fan of his work.
you know, he talk a little bit about your military history. You guys actually, you know, while you didn't serve together, you might have served in some similar places, and so he
We both fought in Gallipoli.
he kind of takes a shine to you and says, "Guys, you've really kind of stumbled into it." He says, "This is the 9th murder victim of this kind in the last 2 years." He says, "Come on,
9?
let's."
Jeez.
He says, "Let's get off the street. Let's go upstairs." And so he takes you in. The crime scene investigators have started to show up. They've covered Jackson's body up with a sheet, and he kind of pulls the sheet down and shows you the markings on Elias's head. And tells you that this is the 9th murder victim that they found that have had these markings. They've had no apparent connections. They were poor, wealthy, and middle class, both black and white, and from all over the city. But all the victims had these marks on their forehead. He says, Dr. Mordecai Lemming, an eccentric Manhattanite and folklorist, linked the sign to an African death cult, but otherwise hasn't had any useful information for us. Says the investigation came to a close when Captain Robson of the 14th Precinct in Harlem arrested a local man named Hilton Adams, who'd been found at the scene of one of the murders. He says everything seemed quiet after that, but now that another's murder's taken place, I'm worried that either Robson got the wrong man, or this Adams might have had associates.
Well, I tell him, you know, how we actually met Jackson was when we were investigating it. He was investigating a cult down in Peru. It's became one of his books there. I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't investigating these killings here in New York. Similarly, you know, it's kind of stuff he writes about. Probably would be a bunch.
Sorry, GM. Is it possible I can make a Cthulhu Mythos check just to see if I probably know what this is?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, let's see what happens. Oh my god!
You gotta be kidding me. Campaign's over. He solved it.
So you see the marks on Jackson's head, and all of a sudden your vision kind of fogs up for a second, and you kind of see yourself all of a sudden in Africa, and at least that's where you assume that you are, and you see a whole bunch of people worshiping this symbol, and all of a sudden you hear, "The black wind is coming. The black wind." And then you hear, "It's the sign of the bloody tongue." And then all of a sudden you shake yourself out and you're back in the room.
At this point, he's just gonna say like something about the black wind, the sign of the bloody tongue.
All right, that doesn't sound ominous at all.
Well,
Why don't you once just get a sign that says, you know, there are cigar girls coming with drinks? It's gotta always be like some cult thing.
The puppies are about to be born.
Yeah, that's just creepy, dude.
it has to do with that sign over there.
It's the slobbery tongue.
Yeah, the slobbery tongue of my
So
girlfriend.
while Alejandro is kind of spacing out for a minute, another police officer comes in and kind of whispers something in Lieutenant Poole's ear. He gets really pissed off. He's like, "What? No, that can't be. Oh, that asshole." And he looks up at you. I'm sorry, gentlemen. There's been some internal politicking. I'm gonna have to head to the police station. I'll let you guys say your last respects, and then I'm gonna have to ask you guys to move along quickly, because this is a crime scene. And he and the other officers kind of pack up and close the door behind you to give you a little bit of privacy for a moment.
Before he goes, and he said, "Please, we don't familiar with Jackson's family, but if you find out when and the preparations for his funeral and stuff, could you make sure to have that passed along to us?"
Absolutely. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time, and thank you for your diligence in apprehending these folks.
All right, quick spot check.
Cool.
Nope.
Yep.
I can only imagine while my guy's spaced out, it's just like dun 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 dun. Hear the sounds going tonight.
Wait, what are we spotting hidden for?
Well, look,
Looking around.
at least Lou
Oh.
left, so yeah, look for
Can I-
anything out of the ordinary we could possibly see.
Anything useful in those papers I recovered from the cultists?
We'll get to those afterwards.
Damn
You've
it.
only got a minute or so here in the room before
Take
the,
a look around, see
cops
if there's
are gonna-
any book. Make note of any books you might have, on the desk. Clearly,
Oh.
stuff that he's researching at the
Dude,
moment.
I'd like to buy a camera.
All right, so
Wait, I'm still rolling.
excellent.
Nice.
2 hard successes. So Jesse, you see a book that looks a little bit out of place. There's the second volume of Andrew Dixon White's book, A History of the Warfare of Science with the Theology and Christendom. And sticking out of the top of it, you see a weird piece of paper and it's right at the beginning of chapter 14, which is titled From Fetish to Hygiene. And you find this piece of paper.
A group of people who get off by not taking baths finally take a bath. More at 11.
COC, where even the paper is weird.
So you snag that playbill, and
What time is it now?
this was from weeks ago.
Ah, darn it.
You've definitely missed it, but this was from weeks ago. And
All
Martin,
right, I pocket that.
on the floor, kind of next to the bed, you find this matchbook.
Shanghai Fun.
All right.
The stumbling
Yeah, I know
tiger
what I'm
bar.
talking. Wait, so
So I can use my Chinese
Serving
language.
bars in the middle of prohibition.
let's talk all at once. Oh, that's true.
Stumbling tiger.
Well, who knows? It could just be a bar that serves Coke.
That's probably made by some like non-Chinese person to impersonate Chinese people. That's not really a Chinese style name.
It's 2 blocks away from Chinatown.
It'd be like happy something or other, or lucky or golden or whatever.
It's kind of like the reverse of when like Asian people try to do something American and just ends up sounding really, really Asian. Like a laundromat is just like super American fun, blah blah blah.
Okay, so there's a knock at the door, and one of the uniform guys comes in and says, "I'm sorry, we've got to finish up in here. So if you gentlemen could move along, and if you hear of anything, please feel free to come down to the precinct, and Lieutenant Poole will be happy to make some time to meet with you."
All right, I'm gonna. I mean, so the thing, what is it? Is it a brand or a carve? Like the symbol on Jackson's head, right? Like,
Yes, it was carved in.
is carved in. All right, I'm gonna make a quick sketch of that while
Okay,
I'm still there.
you get that done.
Use an Etch-a-Sketch.
Sketch up.
Oh.
The tip of a pencil and some paper.
Oh, by the way,
Thing head and just like do the shading thing.
sorry, Eric. I actually looked up the definition of gringo. It's basically like a person, especially an American, who's not Hispanic or Latino. So
Oh, okay. Well, then
you
that
can call
works.
black people gringo.
Great.
Just might not know what the hell you're talking about.
Okay, so what do you all do next? Jesse has all these papers.
Wait, where did we find the matchbook again?
It was under the corner of the bed.
Okay. All right, I got these papers. I guess I'll look at them in the hotel bar.
We're not very far from the museum I work at. We could take them there and got the lighting and the desks and everything we can use to investigate that.
That's a great idea.
That is a good
Hiding
idea.
in the desk.
But
You
she
have
also knows where they hide the booze in the
Yeah,
museum offices.
What time is it?
I got a stash of hooch back at the museum.
Excellent.
I wonder, should a couple of us go to the bar, or are we all going to go to the bar after we go to the museum?
Well, keep in mind this is
Well, what time-
prohibition, so there's not going to be a whole bunch of legal bars open.
Oh, I know, but the Shanghai one.
Oh,
Stumbling tiger.
Yeah,
So-
Stumbling Tiger, blah, blah, blah.
So the two of you that live in New York, you know that that's not a bar anywhere in New York.
Yeah, there is no Lantern Street.
Yeah.
We can Google it and see.
Martin, you've traveled a lot over the Orient. You think that this might actually be from Shanghai?
God damn, okay.
Yeah,
what museum is it that you work
All right,
at?
we're not going there tonight then.
Okay.
Okay. So you go to
I guess we
yeah.
do
Which
some
museum do you work at, Alistair?
all the museums.
Yeah, exactly. I guess some kind of probably the Museum of Natural History.
Okay. All right. So you get them in,
Could
and
be some like really weird museum.
you find a number of papers here that you were able to take off the cultists before the police arrived. So the first one you receive is this handwritten letter addressed to Roger Carlyle from Warren Bessart, and the text is in a neat, precise hand. 3rd March, 1919. Your lawyer informed me that you seek certain knowledge of this land and its distant past, and I believe I can help you in this regard. Inquiries in the old quarter have identified Jiraz Najar in the Street of Jackals, who claims to be in possession of singular curios, which he believes will be of great interest to you. He is prepared to part with these items if a suitable price can be agreed upon. I shall endeavor to make sure that these matters are arranged to your satisfaction. Yours, Mr. Warren Bessart. You also find this business card for the Penhew Foundation in London with Edward Gavigan, director, elegantly engraved upon it. You also find this kind of blurry photograph. It's blurry and grainy. It shows a large, either steam or diesel-powered yacht beyond some Chinese boats. Part of the name of the yacht is visible. The first 3 letters are D-A-R. And in the dim background is a building with a large tower.
that looks like the Bund, which is a commercial area on the Pooh River, which is on. Yeah, that's actually what it's called.
You're familiar with the Far East, so you recognize it as the Huangpu River in Shanghai.
Yeah.
It's Huangpu actually.
Ah, thank you.
Yeah, the
Depends on
Pooh
what-
River right next to Lake Titicaca.
You said poo.
Yes, my character will probably have lived in Shanghai for some period of time.
You also find this business card for Emerson Imports in New York on West 47th. And in Jackson's handwriting on the back of it, you see a name, Silas Nakani.
Look at the
Go
two
on,
New
Nate.
Yorkers.
You
Bringing
also
both?
find a letter from Harvard University
Harvard.
dated a few months back, November 7th, 1924, to Jackson Ellis, care of his publishers. Dear Mr. Ellis, your book, the book about which you inquired, is no longer in our collection. The information you seek may be found here in other volumes. If you will contact me upon arrival, I'll be most happy to further assist you. As always, Miriam Atwhite, Harvard University Library. That's what you got.
Well, that playbill, one of the dudes on the playbill is a professor at Miskatonic, which is in Arkham, which is not too far away from Boston. So if our lead don't go anywhere here, maybe we should go to Massachusetts.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we go to Boston.
Pack the car in Harvard Yard.
Yeah.
That should actually probably be Widener Library. I think that's where their rare books collection is. There actually isn't a Harvard University library at Harvard. They're all named libraries.
How long ago was this presentation on the Cult of Darkness by Professor?
It was a few weeks back.
Oh,
It was about 3 weeks ago.
So it's semi-recent.
Maybe he's still in New York. At least we can contact the university.
Try tracking down that the doctor that gave the presentation.
Professor Anthony Cowles, PhD.
Yes. And we could always go to Emerson because it's right in New York, actually.
How late is it at this point between all the fights?
At this point, it's after 10 p.m.
Did we look through those papers we got off the cultist yet?
That's what you were just reviewing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think we need to be quick about finding the professor that gave the presentation. If it's been a few weeks, he might not be in New York much longer if he still is.
But you're working at the museum. You're probably the best person to contact the university.
Yeah. Do I know anything about the Professor Anthony? Let me maybe needs a role of some sort.
Make any like an archaeology or a role like that.
Oh, it just
No,
failed.
you've never heard of him.
Okay.
Well, we could always look him up in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm to do some library use.
It's just the most exciting skill on the sheet. It's like
I did actually invest points in it.
I did too.
As did I.
We're gonna do some library.
Okay. So you guys are breaking up for the evening, going back to your respective beds.
Homes and hotels.
Okay.
Yes, I'm going back to my house. Probably doing. Is it possible to do first aid on myself? To like, get back some hit points, or no?
Yeah, I'll say that you can.
Okay.
Probably could use some assistance myself.
Okay. Oh, look, I succeed.
Put some snow on it.
Yeah, rub some dirt in that shit. Who cares? It's just a fire escape.
You're just walking it off.
Yeah.
You want to do a roll? Could you roll help me out?
Sure. Oh, look, I succeed.
And in cult, that's what, D3?
Yes, I think so. Did you just say cult?
Cult.
Yeah.
Okay, so you each get 2 points back, and you'll get another 2 points back for sleeping through the night.
Okay.
So you've healed up 4 of your 11 damage. Okay, so the next morning, you wake up, and when you get the paper, you find this article in the New York Times. Author murdered by brutal killers. Body found in Hotel Chelsea. Possible connection to Harlem murders. By Rebecca Schosenberg. Author Jackson Elias has been found murdered in his Chelsea hotel room. The killers are reported to have used long knives to butcher their victim. Lieutenant Martin Poole of the Murder Squad stated that he is exploring possible connections between this murder and similar slayings in Harlem last year. Local resident Hilton Adams was convicted of the Harlem murders in October last and is awaiting execution at Sing Sing. Lieutenant Poole offered no opinion as to whether this new murder indicates that Adams had accomplices or is innocent of the earlier crimes. There's also, in the obituary section, notice of a non-denominational funeral to be held at the Cypress Hills Cemetery in Brooklyn tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Okay, so know what we're doing tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Okay, so
Can I just say that it's awesome that there's a police department called Murder Squad? If I die, can I roll a character that's part of the Murder Squad?
Absolutely.
Is it pro or con?
It doesn't matter.
yeah, fucking. What are we? Some kind of murder squad? Or, sorry.
Well, at least this is what 1925, so they actually have scientifically trained medical examiners. Great book, Poisoner's Handbook. Start of the forensics lab in New York, 1918. First year they actually had somebody that was appointed that knew what the heck they were doing. Before that, usually you'd become the coroner, and it would be along the lines of you got the job so you could get kickbacks from funeral homes because you wouldn't release the corpse unless it was going to a funeral home that was going to pay you a kickback.
Nice.
Like I said, if you like history or interested in forensics, New York around the 1920s and 30s, how it develops, and it basically the race to outsmart poisoners and come up with tests and things like that. It's a great book.
So,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I'm just wondering, is it at all possible? Would I have to make a roll to turn a double-barreled shotgun into a sawn-off shotgun? Because I probably have to use a hacksaw and just
Didn't you ask that before?
I did ask that before, but I figure.
Yeah, I thought you made a sawed-off back in Peru.
Oh, I did. Was I allowed?
that.
Was I allowed to take it to New York?
I'll
Sure,
say
why
that in
not?
the
You got 4 years.
intervening 4 years, you managed to get that done.
Okay, yeah, sure. I have a sawn-off shotgun, so awesome.
You paid a guy who knows a guy who's on the Murder Squad.
Well, I literally just bought a shotgun and just used a hacksaw.
Can I? I guess I want to buy a camera. Can I buy a camera?
You can buy a camera.
Do they have reasonably portable cameras, or does it have to come with ridiculous amount of apparatus? I can't remember.
I believe that Polaroid. It's actually in. I think it's actually in one of the Call of Cthulhu manuals that Polaroid came out with the first Instamatic camera right around this time. And given that it's a cult game, a pulp game, I'm gonna say, yeah, absolutely.
A new experimental
So it could be
picture.
a weird camera.
It won't be a weird camera,
weird
but you can.
camera.
But I will say that you have a regular camera.
Okay.
I think 35 millimeter was already in use by that time.
All right.
35
Yeah.
millimeter definitely was. I think Polaroid also had the first Instamatic at that point in time.
Here's here's the next question. What does one gotta
Or at
do?
least
to
Kodak
actually-
had the nice cameras, I think, back then.
I just looked it up. Polaroid came out in 1937.
Okay.
Kodak, then.
So
Yes,
well,
sir.
okay. So you can get a 35 millimeter where you can take pictures and have them either develop them yourself if you can find a dark room, or that you could
What kind of skill would that be?
photography.
Is it just me, or is there no photography on the sheet?
It might be a
It's arts and crafts.
arts and crafts skill.
So it's at 5.
Okay, what does one gotta do to get someone to develop it for you?
Pay them some money and come back in a couple days.
I
It was
it's not
a
like
1 hour photo.
photo, right?
Nah.
24-hour drive-through photo, man.
Well, if you know
York.
somebody who will do it, ship him a couple extra bucks, probably he'll move you up to the head of the list.
All right. Well, I'm figuring if there's anywhere else you can do it in the world, I suppose you should be able to find someone in New York to get it done, right?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, guaranteed.
All right. I'm gonna buy a camera. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but I'm gonna buy a camera and a couple rolls of film.
Okay. You do that.
Yay.
Yeah, 1914, Kodak introduces the autographic film system.
That sounds amazing.
Okay.
Nice.
Anywho, so you got that. What else are you doing with your Saturday? With your Friday.
I thought we were looking up cowls.
But we're going to have our friend at the museum.
Yes,
Will contact the university. They're probably more likely to talk to him.
yeah, I'm going to contact the university that Kyle's gave the presentation at to see get any contact information and see if he's still around.
Okay. You call the department and they say, "Oh no, Mr. Professor Cowles is back here in Arkham. He's around if you'd like me to put you through to his office."
Yeah, that would be great.
You could just talk to him on the phone. This is crazy.
It's like modern technology and stuff.
One moment, please, sir.
I honestly don't think I played an RPG where like I talked to another character on the phone.
Which number was that?
Sorry, I didn't expect that you were going to do this session, so give me 1 second to find my notes on this.
Let's start calling everybody. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
What exactly
Professor
did you do?
Professor Cowles picks up the phone. Hello, who's this that I'm speaking with?
Excuse me. Excuse me. This is Alistair Hamilton. I'm the curator at the Museum of Natural History in New York. We happen to have a friend of ours that you may know, Mr. Jackson Elias, and he was murdered last night. And
Oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that.
we saw the excuse me, how can I? There were the 3 men that were involved. Seemed to have carved this symbol into his head, and I described the symbol. And we found on his body the flyer for the presentation that you gave a few weeks ago, and we're looking to see if there's any sort of connection.
Oh dear. Well, I certainly don't think so. I never actually met Jackson. I was a fan of his books. But I never actually met him to my knowledge. I was in New York a few weeks back for I gave a presentation, but I don't think it would. It was more about Australian rights and a strange. You said they were cultists? My lecture was about the cults of Australia. I can post you some of the notes from it if you think that might help.
That may be of help to us. That would be great.
Certainly, I'll
You describe the
I'll get
cultists?
those out into the post to you, and you should have them within a couple of days. He kind of gives you an overall summary. You know, it's and you'll have. Let me just make which handout is that? This one. Okay. So this paperwork will arrive later, later next week. But this this kind of is the gist of what he tells you. Um, is talking about a cult called the Cult of the Sand Bat that once existed amongst the Aboriginal peoples of Australia, and that they practiced human sacrifice. But that it was a
Through
bat
the
cult. Didn't seem to, and the symbols don't seem to match what this symbol that was on Jackson's head.
Okay, yeah, I'm reading through it real quick, and yeah, I thank him for his time. Um, I think that's about all I have for questions for him. And I mentioned that we may be coming up to Massachusetts at some point, and maybe we could get together and
Oh,
meet
he's
at that point.
certainly very welcome to spend some time and talk with you in some more detail, and perhaps trade some information. But he doesn't have a whole lot to offer. His studies have been more in Australia and Polynesia than in Egypt or Africa.
And he may be interested in some of the information we have from Peru to kind of match up with his expertise.
Certainly.
Okay, then I think my next step would be to be ready for the funeral at 2:00. I think I
So
would
so the
like
funeral
tomorrow.
is tomorrow. It's Saturday at 2
Right.
o'clock. So you've
Okay.
okay. What's everyone else gonna do with their Friday?
I'm figuring I've met with his publisher, right? And
Would you have?
well, no, I know of his publishers. I've been trying to, I get his books been sent to me.
Yes,
have a
you
graphic
you know you know of Jonah Kensington.
Yeah.
And Prospero House in New York. You've probably talked to him on the phone a couple of times to get some signed books sent to you.
I'm thinking maybe since the letter was sent to Prospero House Publishers from Martin Atwater, maybe I could drop in, talk to him, see if he can't make a call for us, and just ask if she, because they're following up to finish his, look into his last book of research, and just trying to track down some of the notes that may have gotten, currently unavailable due to the room being seized, etc.
So
my
you
thinking there.
you call over to Prospero House, and a secretary kind of cheerfully says that the office is in mourning today, but that Mr. Kensington will be at the funeral tomorrow if you wanted to touch base with him then, or else otherwise the offices will be back open on Monday.
Okay. That was nice.
Aside from aside from buying a camera, would it be possible to like do the research ourselves on this strange symbol?
Sure, you could go to the New York Public Library. The information that Alejandro gave you could probably save you some time.
Yeah, the black wind is coming, the sign of the bloody tongue.
Slobbering tongue, black tongue.
It's
All the
slobbering time.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah.
No, I
do
could
that.
help out on that. Hey, well, I'll also go there to see if I can't find contacts for the Harvard University Library. It's a pretty figuring. Don't most of those big libraries have phone books from around the country?
Well, there's a name on the letter. So
Yeah, you've got Miriam Atwright's
correct.
contact information on the letter.
Okay.
All right. I don't like library use and research, but since there's nothing else to do at the moment,
Okay, hold on one second.
all right, what do you think this would be? Archaeology, library use, or occult?
Library use.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
I look up a lot of stuff in the library. Most of it not useful, but
So,
eventually it's something that we may
the cult known as the Bloody Tongue is believed to have originated in Kenya, although its ongoing existence is unclear. But the symbol on Jackson's forehead very clearly is the cult's holy symbol.
All right, so let's see. Wait, was that one of the handouts that you gave us earlier?
No.
No. All right, so I mean, so with that, I could probably
Yeah,
look up whatever
it
other-
appears to be that the rune might have descended from a sect driven out of dynastic Egypt, but the most of the documentation that you find is in the Kenyan section.
Okay.
So I think Silas and Kwanye may have some information, being an importer from Africa. So Emerson Imports, that's right here in town.
Good call.
Yeah, Alejandro was actually thinking of going there. But if you want, he could wait until like one of you guys are done and then just go with one of you or a bunch of you.
Yeah, I'd head over there with you.
I'll head over there too. You want?
So
Yeah, okay.
all right. Well, so Jesse and Alejandro spent some time in the library today.
I wasn't going to the library.
Looking. You weren't at the library?
I wasn't at the library now.
I was at the library. I'll go to the library
Okay.
instead.
So Jesse and Seamus are at the library. And Alistair spent some time, a good amount of time on the phone with the good Professor Cowles from Miskatonic. So Alejandro and Martin, what are you two doing?
You want to go to the import export place?
Yeah, I was planning on going there, but not before I buy some. Not before I buy 25 shotgun shells, because just in case.
Also, could I make a thing suggesting that last night I made a suggestion that we meet for dinner?
Yeah.
And since I'm in New York, I want to try some of these famous New York steakhouses. You gentlemen, tell me where.
Okay.
Okay, 1 second. I need to jump on up to Emerson Imports. Okay, so you head up to Emerson Imports. The company can be found in a long, narrow building on the edge of the Hudson River just beyond Hell's Kitchen. There's loading docks at both ends. The building itself is a warehouse piled high with freight and set with offices upstairs at the front. You meet a man in there named Arthur Emerson. He's a man in his 50s, and he says, "What can I do for you, gentlemen?"
We show him the business card we found and say that, or we ask whether or not he knows Jackson Elias.
He says, "Yes, I met the man a few months ago. He came in asking me some questions about imports from Africa. How is the old man?"
Do you want to tell him, or should I?
You can go ahead if you want to.
Okay. We found him dead a few days ago.
Oh my
He's
God,
not getting any
that's
older.
horrible. What happened?
Well, 3 cultists, I think. Yeah, 3. They break into his room, stab him, then probably carve a sign on his forehead. I think it was sign of the bloody tongue, indicating some kind
God.
of wind.
Does he look genuinely surprised?
He does.
Okay. Can we ask what sorts of things Jackson asked you to import?
He didn't ask me to import anything. He was looking for importers that had connections with Mombasa. I'm I'm the U.S. agent for a Mombasan exporter named Aja Singh. His only U.S. account is at the Juju House over on Ransom Court. I'm sure that Jackson intended to visit the Juju House. He wanted to talk to the manager there, a guy named Silas Nankawi.
Yeah, we saw it on back of this card right here, and he pulls out the card, or shows him the name on the back of the card.
He says, "I'll be honest with you guys. That Nakawi character makes my skin crawl. I told Elias the same thing.
Also,
It's just something about that man I don't like."
Is he a flesh-eating vampire?
He kind of laughs. He says, no, he's a kind of a frail old man, but something about him and that weird shop he runs. Gives me the willies."
yeah, when you mention the flesh-eating vampire, Alejandro just sort of like just like turns his eyes at you and just kind of stares daggers like, "What the hell are you doing? Don't talk about that."
What, didn't Jackson write a book about it?
He didn't mention the flesh-eating vampires.
You remembered to leave that stuff out. Didn't you read it?
No, I was too busy getting shot at.
I'm not reading, even I know that.
Can we take a quick look around the shop and see what kind of stuff this guy has?
It's not a shop. It's an import export like docks facility.
Oh,
I think the Juju house would be a pretty good place to look.
okay. I guess we thank him for his time.
Okay.
I think we should wait for the rest of them. Meet for dinner, then tell them about Juju house.
Oh, can we ask Mr. Emerson why he thinks it's a strange place?
Weird old man, shop full of all sorts of strange things.
Probably be good to bring the museum person.
Can we show him a drawing of the carving, the thing that was carved into Jackson's forehead, and see if he's familiar with that?
I told him about the sign of the blade tongue. So
Yeah, he doesn't seem to know anything about that.
Okay. All right.
okay.
All right, so you guys meet up for dinner and exchange notes.
Before we do that, since I was at the library anyway, before I did that, did I actually try phoning the librarian? Because I'm going to be in the library. She said she had some other books that might be useful. Maybe I could get a list from her, what she was talking about, and then do research on those books. See if the New York Library has copies.
Hold on.
Just thinking, library.
I was not expecting you to get to Miriam this session. Give me 1 second to find my notes on her. Because I didn't print that page out. Do. 136. Okay, yes, you were able to get Miriam on the phone, and hello, this is Miriam Atwright. Can I help you?
Yes, hello. I'm an associate of Eli Jackson, um, and I don't know if the news has reached Harvard as of yet, but unfortunately, Mr. Jackson is no longer with us.
Oh my God, what happened?
I'm afraid he was assailed in his hotel room by appears to be cultists of some sort, and unfortunately murdered.
My God.
The murder most foul.
We, examining his papers, found a letter that you sent to Prospero House for him, saying that he was looking for a specific volume, but it was not available in your library. But you had suggested that you could suggest some other volumes.
Oh yes. He was looking for a book called Africa's Dark Sects. It mysteriously disappeared from the Widener Library several months before Jackson requested it.
You had mentioned maybe you could recommend some books that would cover some similar ground.
Yes, I can recommend a few titles to you, and she mentions a few other titles about African mythology, and you know that through that you and Jesse are able to positively identify the cult of the Bloody Tongue as belonging to that symbol.
Okay.
She says, yes, it was the strangest thing, though. One day that book just simply vanished. There was there was an unspeakable odor in the collection that day, and the book was just gone.
Is it a particularly valuable item?
Not particularly valuable. I mean, it's an older volume, but it's not particularly noteworthy.
It's not used in any classes there.
No, no.
So I imagine so. It's not valuable, but it probably wasn't trafficked, so to speak, that much by students.
No, not very.
You should ask if there's a copy at Miskatonic, because they have a much better security system.
Well, I thank her profusely for the information and her time, and say that
She says, I remember it was written by a Nigel Blackwell in 1920, so it's not a particularly old book, but it didn't have a whole lot of well, there was some scandal about the book.
you don't remember who published it?
I believe it was self-published.
Ah,
And there was some scandal about the book. I feel like there's only a dozen or so copies of it out there. It was a shame for us to lose it.
mhm. Yes, I would understand that. It's yes, when self-published is always a little more tricky to get and rare to actually have an additional printing.
What was the name of the book?
Africa's Dark Sects.
Oh.
No chance there's one here in the New York library system?
You don't find one in your time in the library today.
Did I find anything by this particular author
No.
or mention of him? Okay. I look him up in Who's Who. Does he have any sort of standing that he'd show up in one of those?
No, there was an explorer by that name. Miriam tells you that they're not even really sure whether he really wrote the book or if that was a pseudonym.
You should ask if she knows Henry Armitage, who's the head librarian at Miskatonic.
Except I don't know that.
I hear they got a copy of the Necronomicon there. We can go digging around in there.
Yeah, but after the Dunwich Horror, they keep it under lock and key.
I want to take it to the cabin in the woods and just read random passages in there.
Do you speak or do you read? I think they have the copy in Latin. I'm not sure.
I do. Latin.
Oh, that's pretty good.
All right, totally. That's what we're doing next game.
Excellent.
Former choir boy. They still were speaking Latin at Mass.
Okay, so you meet up for dinner. You exchange notes as to what's happened. Is there anything that you feel like you want to get done before the funeral tomorrow?
Go to the Juju house, probably.
Does anybody know any more information or looked into those other murders series? Like, what do you guys know in New York? Did you hear about them or anything in Harlem?
I think there was just some of the stuff that was in the newspapers.
Oh, yeah. Can I ask my friend in Harlem if he's heard about these murders?
He's definitely heard about it. It was pretty big news. There have been 9 murders. But they think that they've got them. You know, the police have said they've got their man, and he's awaiting execution.
Oh, is there anyone in New York? What about like the Carlisle heir, the sister? Is she still in New York?
How would you go about finding that out?
Well, I don't know. I guess maybe the character who's a museum head might run in the same circles or something. Or we could just hang out at the Waldorf Astoria.
Or I was going to say, at the very least, she'd probably also definitely making it a copy of the Who's Who.
Yeah, she is a socialite. I mean, there probably is some stuff in the social pages to track her goings.
We should ask, or we should try to find out whether or not her brother and his expedition were murdered by the same cult.
So that's some information you could definitely find out in the morning. You could find out a little bit of information about Erica Carlisle before heading off to the funeral, without waylaying yourselves too badly.
And that probably ties in with this importer guy who has connections in Singh, whatever his name is, Singh Mombasa, which is in Kenya.
So in the morning, you look in Who's Who and some of the society pages, and you find out that Ms. Carlisle spends most of her days at her Westchester estate. All inquiries about her are asked to be forwarded to Bradley Gray, a partner at the law firm of Dustin, Whittleby, and Gray. And that's about what you can find out before you need to get dressed up and head on to the funeral. And given that it's a little after 11, I'm going to say that's probably a good place for us to wrap up for the night. And we'll pick it up next session at the funeral.
Oh, just one quick question.
Yes.
Since it is the next day, do we get any more healing back?
Yes, you'll get 2 more points.
Okay, just checking. Not that I hope we get into an encounter that I need to use it, but
Yep.
Oh yeah, my character's gonna carry his gun to the funeral.
Hey, it's a funeral and it's Pulp Cthulhu. Something's gonna happen.
Same rules. Handguns under your jackets. No one's gonna notice.
And I assume the Juju house is going to be encounter time too. So
Called the frickin' Juju
yeah.
house.
What about a sawn-off shotgun? Would anyone notice that under a coat?
it's wintertime.
I think that might be a little bit. It's Pulp. I'll let you do it.
I'll probably just wear a trench coat and wear it on the back of my thigh or something. Just wear it like right between
You're
the
married,
legs.
right?
Yeah, my character's married.
Maybe your wife knows how. What's your wife do for a living?
She's a teacher.
She may have some friends that are seamsters. Can build you sew it into your coat well, so it's easy to come out and easily hidden.
Well, she could like sew, but she's not that good.
I
She
should
could
probably
probably-
has some friends.
Yeah, maybe, but
Keep making those rolls.
maybe.
So, 2 weeks from today, November 11th, work for everybody?
Yeah, there's going to be some deaths at a funeral, probably.
Good for me.
Okay. Yeah,
Perfect.
death is good for you. Good.
All right.
I don't know at the moment, but I hope so.
Excellent.
Chapter
Well, if
2,
anything
Death at the
changes,
Funeral.
we'll keep each other posted on the Roll20 board.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for playing tonight. It was good to have a full squad for once. It's been a few weeks,
Yeah, it's awesome.
and thank you everybody who joined on Twitch tonight. We had a big contingent on Twitch tonight, and several of you became subscribers. So thank you for that, and or followers anyway. And so hopefully we'll see you more on the stream in a couple of weeks. Thank you, everybody. Thank you,
Right.
players. Have a good night.
Thanks,
All right.
guys.
See you later.
Weeks.